Hello everyone, welcome to week 6 of the BTFL season 3. We have Thursday night football between the all-time great Giants and the all-time great Patriots. We flash back to 2008 in Super Bowl 42. Eli Manning, he's got butter on the back of his jersey. Down 14-10, finds David Tyree, and the Giants eventually win Super Bowl 42 against the undefeated Patriots. Flashback again to Super Bowl 46. Eli Manning, lightning strikes twice, this time to Mario Manningham down the sidelines, and the Giants win that one too. The Patriots are out for blood in this Thursday night football game as Tom Brady shoots the rainbow off to Randy Moss, who had 3 receptions for 113 yards. Tom Brady, who had 28 rushing yards in this game, he'd finish this one off with a long scamper for the touchdown. The statue, he can actually move. Up 10-0. Now it's the Giants' turn. Eli Manning finds himself in Patriots territory, runs the rainbow to Odell Beckham Jr., who had 2 receptions for 61 yards and a touchdown. Up by 3, Tom Brady, he's going to throw it down the left side to Stanley Morgan, who secures the catch. And at the 39-yard line, Tom Brady finds the man, the myth, the legend, Rob Gronkowski with 2 receptions for 68 yards, and he finds the end zone. Patriots are up 17-7 in this one. But Eli Manning, trying to scratch his way back into this game, hands the ball off to Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley ends up getting the Giants into Patriots territory. And then after a play action, Eli Manning shoots it over the middle, 88 passing yards for Eli Manning, but he had 2 touchdowns. It's a 3-point ball game, but the Patriots eventually win this one, 20-14. Patriots are 4-2, Giants are 2-4. We've got the London game between the Panthers and the Buccaneers. Tampa has the ball second as the Panthers kicked a field goal. Tom Brady would find Keyshawn Johnson, hooking up with him again. He'd have 4 receptions for 98 yards, and that was his first of 2 touchdowns. Cam Newton to DJ Moore. He would fumble the ball, recovered by Rondé Barber. So the Buccaneers would take over once again, and Tom Brady of the Buccaneers is willing and dealing this season. Pass to Mike Evans. That was 1 of 2 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. Cam Newton finds himself in Buccaneers territory. DJ Moore making up for the fumble, going down the right sideline, and DJ Moore's got the touchdown on his lone reception of this game. Christian McCaffrey would get the handoff. He would fumble, giving it to the Buccaneers, and this would cause Tom Brady to go back, throw it down the left side of the field. The second touchdown by Keyshawn Johnson in this one. With the Patriots up by 11 points, the Panthers and Cam Newton are trying to get a touchdown, but Newton was sacked by Donnie Abraham, and the MVP of the BTFL Season 1, Cam Newton, is injured. He'd be replaced by Jake Delhomme. The Panthers lose this one 28-10. The Panthers are 2-4. The Buccaneers are 4-2. Redskins/Commanders would travel to Hard Rock Stadium to face the 0-4 Dolphins. Brian Mitchell coming back from injury. That'll be big for that team. Dan Marino, he would get intercepted early by the late Sean Taylor, but they would do nothing with it. Miami, led by Dan Marino, giving it down the right side to Mercury Morris. Mercury Morris would do well in the receiving game. 30 yards and 1 touchdown for him. Sonny Jurgensen trying to get the Commander/Redskins in the game, giving it to Art Monk. He's painting 1 reception for 35 yards in this entire game. That would lead to a Mark Mosley field goal, and Dan Marino and Tyreek Hill would go off. Dan Marino 9 for 15, 233 yards and 4 touchdowns in this game. That was the first of 2 touchdowns to Tyreek Hill, who would have 5 receptions for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. Missed extra point for Orlando Mare. That's a Mare. But the Dolphins would get more in this game as Dan Marino would get that touchdown. Clinton Portis would lead the Commander/Redskins with 13 rushes for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. This would be his second of 2 touchdowns. Really big shot for them if they want to come back. But it is for a lost cause, as Dan Marino would find Paul Warfield for the touchdown. The ending score is 34-17. Miami wins their first game of the season. The Bengals haven't won a game all season, and the Ravens have only won during week 1. So it's been a while for both these guys. Both of these offenses have been stagnant all season. The punt would go to Chris. Now here's a guy, Collinsworth, as he would return the ball inside Ravens territory, bob and weave around defenders, making them look foolish to the 25. And Joe Burrow would back up. He would have pressure in his face. He'd be sacked by Michael McCrary. This would lead to a Bengals field goal. Lamar Jackson, he gets time in the pocket. He's throwing the ball to his running back, Mark Ingram, and that would lead to a Justin Tucker field goal. So they tied it up. Chad Ochocinco gets the ball over the middle, and he gets the ball to the 2, but the Bengals' red zone offense stinks too much, and they kick a field goal. Burrow steps up, down the left side, former teammates at LSU, Jamar Chase, that was his first of 2 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown. Jamal Lewis would eventually get the Ravens back in this game, getting their first touchdown of the game. Scores 13-10, and Chad Ochocinco with the catch yet again. He had 3 receptions for 90 yards. Corey Dillon, he would do well going down the left sideline. He would rush the ball for 9 rushes, 85 yards, and a touchdown right here to make the game 20-10. The game would end 27-10, and both teams are 1-5. The Cleveland Browns host the red-hot Seattle Seahawks. Shaun Alexander comes back from injury, as does Baker Mayfield and Jim Brown, so the Browns are fully loaded. Shaun Alexander would take the handoff down the left side, getting his first touchdown of the game since his injury. Seattle getting the ball back. Russell Wilson finds Steve Largent, who had a pretty big game, 1 of 2 receptions for 65 yards. And then Russell Wilson would look right, find Jimmy Graham for the touchdown, his first of 2 touchdowns. It's a 17-0 ball game, and Baker Mayfield finally finds himself in position, throwing to Ozzie Newsome, and Ozzie Newsome's 42-yard touchdown was big in evening the gap. Russell Wilson throwing it over the middle to Joey Galloway, and Joey Galloway to around the 11-yard line. The handoff would go to Shaun Alexander, and that's his second touchdown of the football game. Baker Mayfield, in the shadow of his own goalpost, down by a few touchdowns, will find Amari Cooper, but then Baker Mayfield will show how much he struggles trying to find Amari Cooper. That is Kenny's easiest interception he's ever had. A big down trot for the Seattle Seahawks as Russell Wilson is badly tackled. He gets injured. He'd be replaced by Matt Hasselbeck, who played for the Seahawks in Super Bowl 40. But the Seattle Seahawks eventually win this one 23-7. They are 6-0, and the Browns are 3-3. All-time great Vikings host the all-time great Eagles. This was kind of a trippy game, especially to begin out with. Justin Jefferson returns this one from his own 20. He's a sure-handed receiver, but he gets tackled. It's a fumble recovered by the Eagles, and they would kick a field goal. Fran Tarkenton, in the shadow of his own end zone, is sacked by the Minister of Defense, Reggie White. And we've got scoregami. It's 5-0. Norm Van Brocklin deep to Terrell Owens. That was his first of 2 catches for 82 yards. The Eagles, David Akers would kick a field goal again. Fran Tarkenton finds himself back in his own territory. He would fumble. Ball is recovered by Wes Hopkins in the end zone, and it's 15-0. That was the first touchdown of the whole game. LaShawn McCoy, he'll catch the ball. That was his first catch of the game. He would have 2 receptions for 58 yards, and that was his first touchdown. He's doing the river dance in the end zone. Fran Tarkenton with a nice pass down the right side to Chris Carter, and usually all he catches is touchdowns. They'll kick a field goal, unable to get into the red zone. And Norm Van Brocklin had 249 passing yards for 2 touchdowns. Eagles win this one 29-3. They're 4-2. Vikings are 2-4. Saints travel to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars, and what would be a highlights for this one if we didn't show this flashback from Week 16 of the 2003 season. Aaron Brooks to Dante Stallworth. The Saints are trying to make it into the playoffs. They need to score a touchdown to get closer. Pitches it to Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis pitches it back to Deuce McAllister. Deuce McAllister pitches it to Pathan, and Pathan finds the touchdown. And the Saints are an extra point away from tying this game. And it's John Carney who barely misses extra points. It's up. Good night. It goes right. And the Saints don't make the playoffs. I think they end up going 8-8, and they look super dejected. Will this happen again in this one? Drew Brees is not Aaron Brooks. He's a future Hall of Famer. Throwing it down the left side to Michael Thomas. 2 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence struggled with turnovers in this game. He'd have 2 interceptions. This was 1 of 2. The interception by Mike McKenzie. He has trouble getting tackled. But the Saints would get into Jaguars territory, and Alvin Kamara would have one heck of a game. 11 rushes, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Fred Taylor would get it done on this drive for the Jacksonville Jaguars, helping them get on the board. Fred Taylor had 68 yards and a touchdown here, but the rest would be all New Orleans Saints as Alvin Kamara goes whoop around defenders, making this a 24-7 ball game. More turnovers here by Trevor Lawrence. He gets out of the pocket. He's running for a first down. Ball's on the ground. It's a fumble, and it's recovered by, let's tell a story all about how my life got turned flip upside down. Will Smith with the touchdown. The Saints win this one 31-7. They are 3-3. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-5. The all-time great Texans are fresh off their win against the Atlanta Falcons last week. The Chiefs got their first loss last week, so they got to get things going. But Jonathan Joseph would sack Patrick Mahomes in the end zone for a safety, but the give would go to Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare, who would gain the touchdown there off that long run. Chiefs get the ball back after a Chris Brown field goal, and Patrick Mahomes would find the cheetah, Tyreek Hill, and he's going to say bye-bye. 3 receptions, 130 yards, and that was the first of 2 touchdowns. Chiefs getting the ball back, hand off to Jamal Charles, 8 rushes, 83 yards, and he helps them get into the red zone, and they'll finish it off. Patrick Mahomes, play action, roll out, gets his second of 3 touchdowns, and gets them back on the board. 21-5 for the Texans. They are down big. Owen Daniels with the catch. He would get injured, and he would be replaced by Joel Dreesen, who actually had a decent impact on this game. Deshaun Watson, no pressure, finds Kevin Walter diving for the first down, and then Deshaun Watson steps up into the pocket, and he sees daylight. 6 rushes, 47 yards, and that's his only touchdown of the game. We got a 2-possession game here. Tony Gonzalez with the big catch, and he goes around defenders, the Hall of Famer with a 33-yard touchdown. That's a pretty insurmountable lead for the Chiefs, but the Texans find themselves in Chiefs territory, and Deshaun Watson will step up, find Joel Dreesen, but it's not enough. Chiefs win 28-19, they're 5-1, Texans are 1-5. The winless Jets are hosting the lossless Cowboys. This should be an easy win for Dallas, as the Jets just seem real pitiful now. Joe Namath, the hero of Super Bowl III, throws it deep to Don Maynard, getting it into the red zone, and the first of 2 touchdowns is scored by Curtis Martin over the middle. Jets getting the ball back as Al Toon with the big catch over the middle, and he gets the Jets a first down. Curtis Martin, he's going to get his second touchdown of the game. He had 51 yards on 11 carries. Joe Namath and the Jets get the ball back, up by 2 possessions, as Joe Namath would throw it deep again to Don Maynard. 3 receptions for 142 yards. And then over the middle to Curtis, my favorite, Martin, to the 1-yard line. Joe Namath has a perfect amount of time in the pocket, finds Mickey Schuler, and that is 1 reception for 0 yards and a touchdown. big lead for the Jets. Hopefully they can keep it going for their own sake so they can get a win. But Joe Namath, he's about to get sacked. It's a fumble. Ball is recovered by Ed Too Tall Jones, and he takes the ball into Jets territory. And let's see if the Cowboys can do anything with this one. Roger Staubach had a pitiful game, but he does find Michael Irvin over the middle, getting it into the red zone, and finding Emmitt Smith up the middle, who had 13 rushes for 62 yards and a rushing touchdown. And then he's going to have an 11-yard passing touchdown right here to give the Cowboys 14 points. They get their first loss, and the Jets get their first win, 24-14. The combination of the Titans and Oilers go to Denver at Mile High to play the Broncos. Starting off, the Titans/Oilers would suffer a fumble recovered by Carl Mecklenburg, and he would get the touchdown as he rumbles, bumbles, and stumbles. John Elway gets the ball back, throwing it deep to Rod Smith, 2 receptions for 81 yards, and the drive finishes off with TD for a TD. Titans/Oilers get the ball back. Right before halftime, the ball goes to the late Frank Wycheck. And then the play action roll out. Eddie George with the big catch, and he eventually gets the touchdown on the drive as he had 129 rushing yards for a touchdown. Terrell Davis gets the big reception over the middle. He's a big play guy for John Elway and the Broncos. As John Elway will play action, throws it short to Emmanuel Sanders, and that's a 9-yard touchdown. Broncos lead 21-7, as John Elway will give it to Demaryius Thomas, and that'll lead to a field goal. Broncos win 24-7. They are 3-3. Titans/Oilers are 2-4. Falcons travel to Arizona in a big game matchup between these two teams with a really good game. Otis Anderson would take the pitch right, as he is the only healthy running back for the team. 8 rushes, 123 yards, and that was the first of 3 touchdowns. Roddy White would get into this, a deep pass from Matt Ryan, and Matty Ice is cold as ice, as Roddy White had 3 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown himself. Gerald Riggs struggled in this game. This was his first of 2 fumbles recovered by the Cardinals. And another pitch to the right to Otis Anderson, and he's leveling up. He's got the touchdown. Cardinals take a 7-point lead. They're up by 4 after a field goal. And a missed pass by Kurt Warner, intercepted by Neon Deion Sanders of the Atlanta Falcons. This would lead to a Gerald Riggs touchdown. This was one of the better things he did all game, but there was still room for screwing up. Second fumble. The ball's on the ground. It's a fumble. Recovered by Larry Wilson, who is very active in this game. And this would lead to Otis Anderson's hat-trick touchdown. The guy worked overburners in this game. But Matt Ryan would find Julio Jones deep, and this would cause the Falcons to be up by 3 points. Less than a minute in the game, old reliable Larry Fitzgerald to the 35, and this would lead to a field goal make for the Cardinals. It's good by Jim Bakken, and we go to overtime. Usually if you get the ball first, you win. Both teams actually punted to each other, so we got the Cardinals, who have got a last chance here with less than 2 minutes left in the game in overtime. Otis Anderson with the big catch down the right side. He's traveling down the field to the 30, to the 20, and he rumbles. He bumbles inside the 10-yard line. The Jim Bakken field goal, it's up, and it is good. The Cardinals win this game. They were down, and they finally win. They win 27-24. The Cardinals are 5-1. The Falcons are 2-4. And finally, the game of the week. All-time great 49ers, all-time great Rams. At the end of the first quarter, Joe Montana steps up into the pocket. He runs wild in this one. He had 95 rushing yards on 3 carries. This dude went ham. Joe Montana with the pitch to Frank Gore, and then the reverse to Jerry Rice. He's been finding the end zone on the run this season, so he's been doing well there. Next drive for the 49ers, Frank Gore gets tackled on the run and he's injured. He's limping and he'll be replaced by longtime 49er Roger Craig. Picking up with action with the Rams' next drive, Torrey Holt with the big catch over the middle from Kurt Warner, and he gets the ball to around the 2-yard line, and then Todd showing the world that he's not Gurley. Next drive for the Rams, Kurt Warner with the pass down the left side again to Torrey Holt. He had 2 receptions for 141 yards, and Todd Gurley, he's showing the world he's not Gurley for the second time in the game. Joe Montana with his second big run of the game. He goes whoop around defenders, getting it into Rams territory again, and then Roger Craig, follows it up with a run for a touchdown. 4th down, I don't know why the Rams are going for it. They should be punting. Plenty of time. Kurt Warner is sacked by Merton Hanks. Side retires, and then Joe Montana finds his guy. Montana to Rice with the touchdown. The 49ers win this one 21-14. They're 5-1. Rams are 3-3.